Well, as we switch over to that, then let's call roll and make sure we're here.
Ricardo Diaz,
Here.
Tony Allegretti, Katrina Kindle,
Here.
Peggy Patton,
Here.
Tony Rice, Ashley Withers.
Here.
Well, that's 4 out of 5, 4 out of 6, and so that's quorum, which means we can do the business. We've actually held off on several things. This will be a good meeting in that we're catching up and then taking some new actions. But I think it's my first meeting with Peggy and Ash.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
great to see you here. We're actually going to have also a hearing not too long from now, and so we'll do that kind of business, which is very different than what we'll do today. Today, the cameras are here, and somehow some people keep track of us, including some council people. They've called me and said, "You guys said this," and I'm like, "You watched it." So anyway, it's wonderful to do. Looking at the agenda, are there any changes or anything you'd like to add?
I don't have anything.
All right. So then we'll consider the agenda approved then. And we need to go over a few things. We just have to make sure that we cover everything. It looks like I have the minutes, but not an agenda for today. Now, I know the agenda because we went over it this morning, but just to make sure that if you guys are not there. The next item is usually approving of the minutes. We didn't meet the last time that we had scheduled, so it leaves us with, thank you very much, with the minutes from 2 times before. The last time we did not achieve quorum. The mic just changed. So can I have, any comments on the minutes from May 27th? 25th? Okay. So I welcome a motion to approve the minutes from May 25th.
Motion to approve?
Thank you, Ash. A second?
Second.
Thank you, Katrina. Any further discussion? If not, if you agree with approving the minutes from May 25th, please say aye.
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 No one opposes. So we've approved them. The July 27 minutes, I don't think we have any in that we didn't reach quorum, so we officially didn't have a meeting. Is that correct?
Correct.
That is correct. There are some minutes just to note that there was no quorum.
Okay.
And there's a copy near you, I think.
Yeah, and I don't think we have to approve minutes that didn't exist because we didn't have quorum. So there was no official action, and it's a good note, and it's good to put them on the record, but I don't think we need to approve them. So if you don't mind, then that gets us through action 3. I don't see any public input, and I guess we don't receive calls under a face-to-face meeting. So we'll take then number 4. This is a strange thing. We've had public input for the last 2 years in every meeting. So you guys, I don't know what you did. All right, so in whichever way, here we are. We'll have, I think, at the next meeting, lots of public input because we'll have some outputs for people to see and hopefully agree and disagree with. So that's number 4. Now we go to our officers' reports. So, Ms. Boyd.
Thank you, Mr. Diaz. We've had citizen complaints since our last meeting in May because of the July no quorum. We had 1 complaint withdrawn, no jurisdiction, 1 with no jurisdiction, and 1 was suspended. All the information has been placed in the portal, and everyone received an email letting you know that there was new material placed in the portal. So I'm hoping you guys had seen that. The annual report, we're finishing the edits and updating that, and we are continuing to cross-check information for that report. For appeal dates, there's an appeal hearing scheduled for Friday, October 7 at 6 p.m. in the council chambers. Notification to the appellant went out on September 15th. I have not received any response affirming appearance at this time.
Okay.
And that was something that the board had requested that I asked for.
Yeah.
Community activities. One note I wanted to make is please make sure that you have completed the process to get your City of Urbana email. I do not know who has not completed at this time, but I was informed that there was not 100% completion.
There's probably two of us.
The emails have step-to-step guides attached to the email, and I've sent that email to you guys prior to coming to this meeting, so it would be at the top of your email when you go in. If you haven't completed it, you won't have to look for it. It should be at the top of your email. And it also includes a two-step verification process. So when you're getting that email, it's going to require a two-step process, and we use Duo. So you'll get a notification to check your Duo to approve so that they know that it's you that's accessing that email. I participated in a de-escalation training hosted by the Urbana Police Department, representatives from Champaign County, City of Champaign, and City of Urbana, the NAACP and the Ministerial Alliance, and Urbana School District, Urbana City Council members were a part of that training. That training happened prior to our July date, but because we didn't have that meeting, I wanted to make sure that I shared that with you. And I believe, Mr. Diaz, you joined us at that.
I wanted to make sure that that's the same one I went to.
That's the one that you went to.
You were almost with COVID, or you were very sick that day, so you sat way far to the left. I remember that.
No COVID.
No COVID, good.
Lamont, Peggy, and myself, we volunteered for the City of Urbana at the Jetty Roads Day celebration. Due to severe weather, the event ended 2 hours, but was very informative, and it was well attended with visitors and vendors. I had an absolutely blast. Getting to talk to community people, getting to work with Peggy, and even if it were just for a little bit, it was a really good day, and I look forward to future Jetty Roads Days. Peggy and I participated in the National Association of Civilian Oversight of Law Enforcement, NACOL, webinar, Expand Beyond the Camera, Situating Body-Worn Cameras Within Civilian Oversight. I don't know if, Ms. Patton, you would like to say anything about it?
Yeah, no, I thought that was super interesting as well. I mean, I learned a whole lot about, sort of different patterns in law enforcement and how they deal with body-worn cameras, because I guess I thought it was all one basic approach, and understand that people use them quite differently, and there's lots of opportunities to learn from that footage that we may or may not be taking advantage of here in Urbana. So, no, it was a good webinar.
Can you give us an example, Peggy?
Well, the person who was leading the webinar is doing a lot of research, helping police forces analyze what they learned from the footage, which takes a lot of time to kind of analyze that, and where they can, in some cases, see patterns of missed opportunities, maybe opportunities where they could have been de-escalating that they didn't, or maybe opportunities that they had been maybe treating different neighborhoods differentially, not realizing it, perhaps, but this becomes quite clear on the footage. But it takes a long time to analyze hours and hours and hours of footage to kind of learn what those patterns are. So he was offering his department or office to do this kind of research for communities who can take the time and afford to do that kind of thing.
Yes, and also on the NACOL website, if you look under training, all of the past webinars are available there for your viewing.
Yeah.
So you could just go out to the website and click on it. As far as outreach opportunities, there will be a table set up for the City of Urbana for the CU Pride Fest. Volunteers are needed to walk in the parade representing the city. The mayor would love to see everyone join her in the parade walk. I will be volunteering at our table, and if you prefer not to walk in the parade, the 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. shift is really in need of volunteers.
The parade is at 11, right?
Yes,
And what day is that?
it's this Saturday, October 1st, and it will begin at 11 and end at 4. There is set up at 10:15 if you'd like to help with setup, and at between 4 and 4:30 will be cleanup, if you'd like to also help with that.
We'll come back to that.
Okay. The Urbana Fire Department will be hosting their Urbana Fire Department Family Night event. The Human Rights and Equity Office will be manning a table to speak with community members about the CPR board and also the other board that I staff, the Human Relations Board. Please feel free to join us there or just come out and enjoy the fun. Trainings, ride-alongs are a part of the CPRB trainings that need to be completed. Sergeant Colby Wright is the contact, and you can email him at the city and he will get you set up. And I will resend his contact information via email, so you will have it at the top of your email. And then I also send out NACOL webinar information. So if you don't get an opportunity to participate in the live webinar, you will be able to catch it on the website under the trainings. But if you want to participate in the live webinar where you have opportunity to ask questions, just let me know, and then I can get it set up for you. When Ms. Patton and I did it, I just scheduled the conference room, and we watched it, on the screen together. And I can do that also if you're wanting to do that. And then again, the trainings are located on the website after they're over. And that's the end of my report.
Well, thank you. That's a lot. Comments, answers, clarifications that you'd like from Ms. Boyd?
Well, I just know you and I spoke after the webinar in July, I guess, the NACO webinar on the body-worn cameras. We were having a conversation afterwards about how much our police department uses the footage from the body-worn cameras to sort of improve practice. I mean, they use it to maybe determine the outcome of a particular criminal scene, but as the webinar was pointing out, that there's lots of other things that can be learned from the body-worn camera. And I know you said you weren't sure. You were going to see if you ask if to what degree our police force uses all that footage, which is lots of footage, to reflect on and improve practice. Did you find out anything about that?
I haven't been able to follow up with that yet, but I will.
Okay, thank you.
Actually, when it comes to trainings, I guess I had not been here, or we had not had an opportunity. The de-escalation training in June that we mentioned that we participated in was a very interesting chance, because when the police chief called, it was a very short horizon. And he said, I've got a room full, but I'd like to have the CPRB represented. Can you come? And I actually thought at the moment, I said, I don't know, but can I send somebody else from the CPRB? And he said, yes, but let me know first. And I think it was because of Ashley. No, just kidding. No, he was, he wanted to make sure that we were represented there. It was an interesting training because we participated, interacted with the trainer who had come to teach our police force about de-escalation. And I have my notes here, but very briefly, I'll report on that because I needed to see the formal part of de-escalation. I've heard about it in town. We've had discussions with other people. But I thought it was very interesting that in that training, there was 3 or 4 points, but basically, you don't have to be in front of somebody's face. You can start to de-escalate, and you should keep a distance and a safety, before you approach somebody. And if you don't have to be in front of them, then don't get in front of them. It's dangerous to you and whatever. So as he went through those steps, I realized that they also apply. It's not just a police situation. It's the de-escalation and even in my family, right? The principles apply about the same. So I encourage others. For me, it was new in that I've never seen it formalized, and I thought, shoot, I should be applying these at home. You know, when my kids and I are mad or whatever else, you protect myself from missiles from my wife or something. You know, there's all those things. So it was very interesting. And that was the intro to the training, and then basically it was a Q&A with him about how things are going and how things go. It was a frank discussion, too, that we have never really had here, and I wish we had an environment in which it could. So what about, I think it was around the time that the police officer up north, I think Wisconsin, where she pulled the gun instead of the taser, you know, and being in this position, it made me feel like, well, I know it was a mistake. She knows it was a mistake, but we need to acknowledge things when we have mistakes instead of trying to defend, you know, and that kind of thing. So we talked about those kinds of things in those kind of situations, which we hardly ever have a chance to do. So it was enlightening to me. And then there were several questions about the fact that the material, and coming back to that's what triggered it, Peggy. There was a question of what you just showed us is actually triggering to people of color, because the bad guy is the person of color. And therefore then there are unspoken what are they called, like
Assumptions, maybe? or-
assumptions, affirmations of that this is the way the world is. Person of color, bad guy. Person's white is the good guy, and therefore the interaction has to go in whichever way. So anyway, so that was very interesting because somebody caught it, and we had a good discussion about when we use our training materials and why and that kind of stuff. So for me, it was very beneficial, and I wanted to report that because it came very suddenly. We had it, and then I guess we hadn't had a chance to report. And since today is report card day, as we go to those, Katrina's going to tell us a little bit about her experience last week. But I want to ask to make sure to clarify on something else. So feel free to interrupt me. I want to go back to a number of complaints. So we have had 3 complaints recorded since our last full meeting.
Actually, it was 5.
Okay. The two that we put in that category in the special folder? Is that why? Because right now it says 3, 1 filed and then withdrawn because of no jurisdiction on the second one, and then number 3.
There's been a total of 5 this year.
Oh, okay, this year. Oh, I see what you mean. Okay. And 3 of those happen to be in this period since.
And during this period, yes.
Excellent. All right. That's good to know.
I
For
had a quick
clarification,
question.
we all
Yep.
get to watch them. Go ahead.
Okay, I was just gonna ask for clarification, when we say no jurisdiction, was it made by, like, it was not an Urbana officer, or?
It wasn't an Urbana officer. It was, well, actually, it was the task force, the Champaign County Task Force.
Excuse me.
It was a complaint against them, and so we don't have jurisdiction over them. The CPRB does not have jurisdiction over them.
But that goes along with the fact, we have the portal, so we can watch any complaint that comes up, we can go read it, and if, you know, electronically, it's a problem, we can walk over to her office and we can see the reports and get acquainted. Somebody needs to take up Scotty's place. Scott was a longtime member, and he always went to the office and checked what was going on. He liked to sit down and for reading material. So it's a good thing to keep track of. So we have had no new appeals during this period either.
As of July, no.
Okay, so we're just dealing with the older appeals from which, you know, time has passed, but we will be dealing with all of those as it comes along. I have one more note, but before that, I had not been in a meeting, and we have a new staff member, so would you mind introducing yourself?
I'm Tom Unzicker, and I've been working with the city since April in a temporary situation, and now since last week, I've joined the city in a contracting situation for the foreseeable future.
Excellent. Well, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Good. And it's kind of funny, but those cameras, because other people are watching, they may be asking those same questions. Sometimes I feel like I'm performing, but I think I'm just trying to figure out what people are watching and what questions they might have. So Tom, good to see you here.
And it was very ironic, I was getting
you.
these emails, and I said, I don't know, Tom, this might be a spam. So I waited a little bit.
point, good
So I'm
point.
glad for the clarification. I'm like, I waited a day, I'm like, oh, so, welcome.
Excellent. Well, actually, that's related to the emails then. There is a reason why we're all getting city emails. And I want to clarify the question that might come from the public is that does that mean that we're part of the city now? We've never been part of the city. We are a board that serves the city and the residents. But the reason that we needed those, not we necessarily, since we've been here for a while for the most part. Our personal emails have been put on the website. They can still be used if somebody can use them. But this email is an access point so that we can interact easier with files and whatever else in the city. It also means that, you know, if you don't want to use your personal email out there for the public, then you can use it. And, you know, I know several members had created a special email to put up there so that, that people could communicate with them. But in this case, it'll stay on the city. And then it's also easier to do official business through that, so that in case, for example, there's a FOIA or there's something in which we need to see the record, it'll be out through the city business. So you're welcome to send mail through it. Actually, clarify that.
Our IT department requests that you use the city email to do city business.
Excellent.
If you're not used to checking another email, there's information and directions on how to forward this to something you would check, but all city business should be going through that city email.
And it makes sense, because they can find things when needed, and we're not available or whatever else, so that's what it is. I will probably, I mean, this lady I got, this week I got a call from somebody who was not very happy with me, and I didn't know her, but my wife asked me, how did she get your phone? And I'm like, well, because I've floated my phone for a long time, and so if anybody just Googles me, they'll probably find me. And I don't mind receiving, well, no, I welcome anybody contacting me in whichever way. The moment it turns into business, I will use the city business email for that, so. Good. That's my side. Thank you very much. We'll come back to the parade in a little bit. Anything else from the officer's report? All right. So we'll go into 6, which is the unfinished business, which deals with some of the things that Carla talked with us about. Annual report. Peg, you and I have had 2 interactions with the materials for the report. Anything you want to say about that? I didn't prepare you, so.
Yeah, no. As someone who's sort of new to the report, I appreciate, you know, being brought in to sort of look at it with fresh eyes as someone who's looking at all this data. Am I on? Oh, yeah. And it sounds like tweaks are being made to the report so that it is giving the information that is of most value to us and the public. And I look forward to sort of seeing those tweaks, and I know there's going to be a narrative that will accompany it, which will also be super helpful.
Yeah.
Because a lot of numbers can be enlightening, but they can also be confusing and cause misconceptions. So I appreciate the time that you and Carla in particular are spending on making sure this report conveys the information that we need in this community. So,
Excellent.
yeah.
Yeah, we are doing a report then for the past 3 years of both cases and the situations that have come before the board. And Carla has spent considerable time making sure that it's systematized information, and so it's now turned into data. When the data is clean from our perspectives, we'd like to get it before you with a narrative as a draft still before we come to approve it, so you'll get a chance at it. There is a follow-up, Peg, that on Monday's meeting, we're basically looking for reliability, inter-rater reliability, so we may need to pull in one more person to look at the data, again, fresh eyes, and making sure that we are categorizing things correctly. So I'll be asking you after we talk, Peg.
Okay.
And then we'll be caught up when it comes to reports. And this one, the other reason why we're holding this munitions task is Carla and I have talked about just having a good template so that from here on, all the reports come out on time and we know where to put which category. So it's even more important that we get it right so that hereafter it's all in the same look and the same consistency. So that's good. I felt a need to talk about the annual report in that way. So that's 6A. 6B is training, and you have a spreadsheet. This is the general category in training because, as we found out, the CPRB is the board at the city that receives the most training of any board.
Really?
And I forget how many hours that is, but it is.
We were upwards almost 90 hours of training. That's
Yeah.
including the meetings, meeting time, and
Yeah. So in a year, you're spending considerable time, and we have then, with Carla's, a spreadsheet of what trainings that are, are required and which ones are optional. So, did you get answers from everybody? Where are we?
I still need to get the OMA training confirmed. If I can ask, Ms. Kendall, have you completed the OMA? That's the Open Meetings Act training?
I can't recall. So I don't know,
And
but I can do it again. if
I've
that's
completed that
required.
one, and I'm happy to resend that certificate
Yeah.
if I need to.
I don't know.
I think that one, we get a little certificate in the
Get a
mail or something, right?
Yeah, because I was able to send it to the Urbana Park District Advisory Committee because I had to complete it for that as well. So I do know I finished that one.
and
So, it's a mail from, it's an email from Secretary of State, Secretary of State. So you may want to look in your mail and search for that, see if it appears. Yeah.
Okay. And then we have TASER.
I did the taser.
I have you down. I just
We did it
have
together, didn't we?
Ms. Patton and Ms. Withers that need to take that.
Yeah.
And then the ride-along,
I have not done the right one.
and I believe Mr. Allegretti completed that.
I did email Colby Wright, and he did say that they prefer to do them either like 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. or 7 p.m. to 1 a.m. Obviously, the 7 p.m. is a more exciting shift. So
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And I've taken that one more than once, and I
Yeah.
like it. On a Friday and Saturday night.
that's my goal to do it on
Yeah.
a Saturday.
You get to see what this
evening.
town is really
Works
like.
better for my schedule, so
So,
I will get that scheduled.
Mr. Diaz, do you know if Mr. Rice completed? Because I don't have any documentation.
yeah, no, I don't think he has. We have talked very little. Actually, let me report on that a little bit. It's hard to reach quorum unless at least 4 of us are here,
Yeah.
because 3 is only half, and that's not over half. Tony Rice has had, he has a broken leg today, and it's been hard to have a full dialogue. I've been trying to reach you individually, so we have, at least, a face-to-face relationship besides here. So he has some leg problems today. And Tony Allegretti cannot come on Wednesday nights. And so it's gonna be hard. We've switched the time over to 6 p.m. because we wanted to make sure we could have one more member.
Yeah.
But as it turns out, Tony can't come on Wednesday nights. We have to do without him in that to change the Wednesday nights to something else creates a cascade effect on when this room is available and when it can be televised and all that. So we're not likely to change it. We're going to wait for his situation to change. So we don't expect Tony Allegretti here regularly on Wednesdays. It'll depend on the hearing dates, if they fall on Wednesdays or not, which usually they don't. So Anyway, so we have a chance with him otherwise. Which brings me then to, we still have officially 2 or 1 positions open.
Officially one.
Officially one. And so, feel free to ask friends or to introduce that as we do outreach, to let people know that if they want to say on what happens and they're unhappy with me,
Yeah.
then go ahead and apply and become here, and then you can be chair
Yeah.
if you like. So, I'm serious. I think this is a good opportunity to learn some of the workings, to have the pleasure of working with city, but also pleasure of working with residents in their own handling of their police relations. So anyway,
Well,
yeah.
before we leave that topic, can I just ask, when, does Tony Allegretti think his availability on Wednesdays will change in the,
Yeah,
in the
I
near
think it
term?
has to do with a semester kind
Oh,
of
okay.
relationship. He works for the university,
uh-huh.
and so
It
there,
may-
there's a conflict there.
Because I have to say, as a new member, I really value those of you who've been on the board for more than 3 months.
Yeah.
And I think that's important for anybody coming in. You don't want to feel like we're kind of the blind leading the blind, which
Yeah.
maybe that's not the right term, but, so I would like to accommodate, if someone's schedule has made it hard to come on Wednesday, to accommodate those who've been on the board for some time and have invested, but,
So, go ahead.
I was going to say, technically, we only have one more meeting this year because you moved to bi-monthly, so he would miss the November meeting. And it's typically in January, you vote to set the new schedule.
oh, okay.
And so at that time, you can, Mr. Diaz, you can decide how you want to handle that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So one of the other things that we'll discuss in the January meeting will be, we are required by ordinance, so the technical part is that we're supposed to have this kind of meeting every quarter. And so, because of the workload that we had before, we decided to have them first every month and then every 2 months to try to work through everything that we had. We've gotten into a pattern in which we have not been able to complete a lot of things, and yet we have progressed in the kinds of things that we do on this regular meeting. So by January, we hope to have finished the annual reports. We hope to have put some things before the council, and therefore then our workload for this kind of meeting may go down, and we can choose to change nights, suggest
Okay.
time change, and then frequency time
Okay.
that we can do. So
Okay.
that's why
Okay.
it was not as,
Urgent.
yeah,
Okay.
it wasn't as expedient. As long as we can achieve 4 of us here, then we can do
Okay. Thank you.
business. All right?
Also.
Go
with-
ahead.
With the trainings, the use of force and the taser training were in tandem, correct? So it mirrors those that have taken the taser to have taken the use of force.
Well, I took the use of force training, which was a webinar, but I
Yeah.
did not take the taser training, and I wasn't sure, I don't even know how to sign up
Okay.
for that. But the use of force, that information was provided to me, and I
Yeah,
did
by
take
the
that. It was
Training
very
Institute person, right?
That's right.
Ms. Withers, were you able to see the same video? If not, we can make sure you get that.
I don't think so. I will go back through my email. I did resend you my OMA certificate to your email, so you have it for your records.
And then the security training, which we would have to get
Yeah, I
you,
don't remember that one, okay.
that we should be able to do that pretty simple.
Okay.
And then the optional trainings are the NACOL trainings and any opportunities that you see. The annual conference is an opportunity. Ms. Kendall went to that this year, but if that's an opportunity that you would like to take, or if there's something that comes up that you'd like to consider, or you'd like for, us to consider, then we can do that also.
Okay.
And it's good when you go to something, just report it in, it gets logged in, and so it accumulates the hours. I don't think anybody's been dropped for lack of hours. There's always opportunities, but it's nice to record, it's our professional growth, if you will, too. But if we've come to 6C then, to
Yeah.
hear a little bit about what an annual conference looks like at the national level.
First of all, I want to say thank you for the opportunity to represent the City of Urbana and the CPRB Board at the NACOL conference. I also received a scholarship for the registration, which allowed me to attend the NACO conference, and it also will allow me to do, they have a virtual component of their conference, which is on the 26th of October, the November 2nd, and November 9th, and so I'll be able to go to that. It was a wonderful opportunity. A lot of the CPRB boards or committees across the world. I met some people from Jamaica. I met some people from Puerto Rico. So I have open invitations to come visit them. But some of their boards are 35, 50 people that run their board in that city. So that was a wonderful opportunity to see how they work. When I told people that I was from Illinois, of course, you know, you always get, how's Chicago? I'm not from Chicago. So I got that a lot. Everybody was like, which part of Chicago? How long have you lived in Chicago? I said, no, I'm from Urbana. I'm on the city of Urbana. They were like, I've never heard of Urbana. I said, the University of Illinois? Oh, yeah, I live in that town. So I learned so much. There was an opportunity. The conference started actually on that Sunday, registration, and it was all the way until the 15th that afternoon. So it was good to hear various viewpoints, and I forgot my program, so I'll have to bring it the next time that we have a meeting. But just to sit and to learn different viewpoints, how they interact, how, and there was a chance on each speaker. They had different tiers that you can go to, so I tried to hit every single one, but as you all know, when you go to a conference, they try to put the best ones at the same time and then make you choose, so it's very, very hard to do. One of the key things that really got me, like, I mean, all of it did, but there was one part of the conference where, and I believe they're in the state of Washington, where they go and talk to potential new policemen while they're at the police academy, to let them know we exist in this town, this is what we do, because they said that a lot of times what they found is that when policemen have already gone through the training and become a policeman in that town, and then a complaint is made on them, the steps, they've never heard of a board that helps people in their town like us, like our Citizens Review Board. So it got me to thinking, we have a police academy here, and there are a lot of, there are times that the candidates, the police academy candidates, do come and work in Champaign-Urbana, but they don't know anything about us. So if there was a way for us to get connected with the University of Illinois and the police academy to let them know we here in the city of Urbana are part of this Civilian Police Review Board, and this is what we do, and this is how you can encounter us, and this is what we do for the citizens. I think it would make a more well-rounded police person. There are some towns, one of the things that we also talked about was diversity training. I'm not sure if that is done in the police academy. Cultural competency came up because one of the discussions that we had was that you have a lot of policemen of non-color and policemen of color, and when you look at their educational background based on where they grew up, sometimes by the time they hit the police academy with fellow officers, that's the first time that some people of non-color have met a person of color, or vice versa, a person of color has lived in a town their whole life where there is no color, and that could be a conflict. And what I found out at the conference is that sometimes on a police force, that is a huge issue, because I'm learning to deal with you based on what I've been taught, based on what I've been learned about your skin color, but now we're in the same uniform, we're both wearing blue, and now we have to work together. But I have all these misconceptions, and like you said earlier, I have all these preconceived notions, but we're fighting the same cause. So I thought that was like a really, really good discussion that we have. So I am so grateful. I cannot thank you enough for that opportunity to go and learn all that I could learn. So thank you once again. I just, if anyone has the opportunity to go, and I'm gonna see whatever in my budget to go, because you continue to keep learning, and you could tell people, oh, hey, you know, that people had been there before. So it was, you know, it was the first time going to the conference. Like I said earlier, first time flying on a plane by myself. I've been on a plane before by myself, and the first time going to Texas. So it was a really good opportunity for me, and I clocked almost 22,000 steps while I was there. So that was really good. I was really excited about that. So yeah. So thank you so much for the opportunity. I really, really appreciate it.
You made it very easy to work with.
Yeah.
You made my job really easy to coordinate that, so I appreciate your cooperation.
Well, thank you.
So two questions, comments, but I want to hear if you guys have any.
Well, that was super interesting to hear, Katrina. Did you meet boards that looked like our composition? I don't mean who we are, but that were like our size, what we,
No,
our
most of
mission,
them,
and-
I didn't meet any smaller boards, but like I said, there were so many people and so many different things. So I met, you know, different people at different times, but
Okay.
they were part of the board. But what I did notice was that it was like 5 people from that board came together, or 10 people from the same board. They all got together and came to the conference.
I see.
So a lot of times, I met, and there were also other activities. We did a scavenger hunt, and my team won, which was really, really good. So I interacted with those people, so that was part of my getting all those steps. But I interacted with people, and ironically, one of the girls that was on my scavenger hunt team grew up here in Champaign.
Really?
We went to the same high school. We were there different years, but everybody that she said that she hung around with, I knew.
Whoa,
So
how
that was kind of
Small
like,
world.
wow, yeah.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, I wish I had the book, because at the back of the book, they listed everyone that attended the conference and where they are on the board. So like when you flip to the back, it gives everybody's name and where they are. So
Yeah.
that was a really, really good
Yeah.
opportunity. So there was some downtime along with the conference, but it was within the conference. They
Yeah.
had, we had lunches, we had a really nice Sankofa reception, which was like the Saturday night before, not Saturday night, because I wasn't there on Thursday, like the Thursday night, the Wednesday night before I left on Thursday. So that was really, really good. I ate some authentic Mexican food, so that was the sidebar, but that was really good. That was like a, piece of the cake. But yeah, it was really good just to interact with a lot of different people
With very
from
different
all over. And I didn't think about meeting people from Puerto Rico and Jamaica and dealing with the same problems, or I hate to say problems, dealing with the same issues that we have, just in a different way, not being able sometimes to get all of the resources, or waiting for a long period of time to get help, or, months and months and months of someone making a complaint and still going through the process because they don't have enough resources or enough members or things like that. Or even with the big members, sometimes they did have where people, their schedules and everything. So it was some of the same concerns that we have, even being a smaller board.
Interesting, okay.
Bigger boards dealt with it as well.
Oh, good.
So,
Well,
yeah.
Thank you.
That's great.
So I have 2 questions. One is, how we doing?
We're doing good.
Yeah?
We're doing good.
Okay.
Yeah,
As
we're
a
doing,
CPRB here.
we are doing well. One of the things that you find with a bigger board is when you get more people, some people don't like each other.
Ah.
So when you have,
Can't imagine.
and everyone is supposed to be there for the same common goal, but if I don't like you, I could care less what you're trying to do. And everybody, from the conversations that I had, I'm like, well, let me just listen and not contribute, because we don't have that issue.
Ah.
But if I'm coming with my own agenda, and you're the chair or the co-chair, and I don't like you personally, everything that you try to do, even though it's for the benefit of the city, I'm gonna turn it down. It's for the benefit of our city. So I thought, well, we don't do that, because collectively, we come together for the benefit of our city, even though we're smaller. So we haven't had that divide. So I was like, okay. So yeah, so we're doing good, because I thought, I couldn't imagine being a chair or the co-chair, and I'm doing everything, saying, hey, can we get, and you get nobody doing something. Or you push for an initiative and nothing happens. Or you ask somebody, hey, can you follow up or can you do this? And they don't do it because it's like, oh, okay, well, yeah, okay, yeah. Discourse, yes.
Well,
Yeah.
happy to hear that. It's hard to imagine that we could get so mad at each other.
Yeah,
We
could
have
you
had-
imagine?
Well,
Yes.
we could, because
Yes.
some of these things are hard to decide.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Both on hearings and
Right.
then on what we want to do, but we've been moving along. As far as NACOL, we are members of NACOL, and so we can get trainings from their website whenever there's a password or whatever else. Talk to Carla, and she can get us access into that. But the next natural question is, and I couldn't find it, I was searching here, NACOL 2023 did not get decided yet because it's not published.
It is going to be in Arizona.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like Grand Canyon, Arizona?
I forgot what
or-
they said, but they did say Arizona. I
Okay.
can't remember where it was. I think they said they're going back to, but it will be in Arizona.
Okay,
Right.
so it'll be Arizona. The way that it worked this time was that there was some extra money there towards the end of the fiscal year, and it was put up. We didn't know whether we could actually harness it all the way, so she applied for the scholarship, and
Good.
so we got it both ways. There was enough money, and we got the scholarship, and she went. But when the opportunity comes, I guess it gets put on the budget for the next cycle. So it gets put on Carla's budget.
Yes, it's in the HREO's budget.
Okay, so if you want to look at the NACOL site, see what happened, talk more to Katrina, and if you're interested, let's see if we can make it happen for you. Because it is, I have a friend who's been on the board of Philadelphia, sorry, I was having a blank. And in Philly, they are investigatory. That is, they are professional oversight people, and they go and investigate and stuff, and the relationships there are messy.
I bet.
Yeah, and messy with the department too.
Right.
I was there when Chief Ramsey, and now he's at the national scale, and the love and the non-love of the city of Philly, it was pretty hard.
To
So,
follow up on your question, Katrina, about whether PTI has a diversity or cultural competency training, they don't have a specific class on it, but it's a component of several classes.
Okay.
So, my stepdad's one of the instructors. so
Okay.
I texted him to ask.
excellent.
So, if
Okay.
you want to know what their curriculum looks like, I can
Okay.
find out, so.
Okay.
It'd be interesting to get us invited. I think that's a good suggestion.
Yeah.
To
Yeah. I
to
think
either
we
be
can-
part of their training or be present so we can
Yeah.
help.
They just started a new class, probably within the last couple of weeks. So I don't know if there's any Urbana officers. I know there's a U of I officer.
A
Probably
new
few-
cohort? Is that what?
Like a
new class
recruit,
means?
basically. Yeah,
Oh.
a new class. So the classes are, I think, 12 weeks long.
Okay.
12 to yeah, somewhere.
But
in
that's
there.
the cycle then of
yes.
12 weeks?
Yeah.
And they just started a new cycle?
I think so, within the
a
last
cohort,
couple weeks.
okay.
So there's, I know, I'm not sure if there's any new Urbana officers in this class, but
Yeah.
I do know there's at least one U of I recruit. So, and they tend to be pretty local, at least kind of within our county and, surrounding. They
Yeah,
don't get a
it
lot
would,
of.
like I said, I don't mean to
outside.
interrupt,
No, you're fine.
that would be really good because I've lived in this town my entire life. And so, over the years, since the 60s, I've been here. And so I was like, so since the 70s, you see the matriculation of the different type of officers as they've changed. And some of them, as I have gotten to be an adult and look at things through my lens, I can, which is, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, I can peg, you came from a small town. You look, even recruits coming in my thing, I think, you probably needed some more diversity training. You needed some more, because every nationality, we do things a little bit different. And if you've never encountered, and I try to instill this on everyone that I work with, you have to remember that sometimes you are the first, whichever minority that you are, that people are encountering in their 20s. Or, going to the, so if I'm 24 and I've never been with an African American, I've never been with a Mexican American, I've never been with an Asian American. I'm going on what I've been taught and what around my community. And now I am taking this oath to protect, and I hope that they do that with the right frame of mind. But because of society here in Champaign, nationally, I know that that doesn't happen. And I think that it would be tremendous if the CPRB board could get with those recruits coming here to our mixed cultural town. I think it would be just amazing, and you would have a different outlook on some things. You know, learn to ask questions before you get in the blue. Because before you get in the blue, if you just saw that piece of the pie, maybe after you're in that blue suit, you would have more empathy, more sympathy, more learning how to connect in a better, healthier way, so that whichever entity or whichever crowd that you are dealing with, you come across correctly.
Absolutely.
So we don't have, I mean, we always want the CPRB board, but so that we're not living with piles and piles of stuff just in any committee, and you think, if we had got this person then, if we had shown them then, if they would have, and I've encountered that and I've said that. Too bad I didn't know you when you were 20, or too bad I didn't know you before this. And we say that with a lot of our young people when they get older and they get incarcerated or something. Maybe I could have said something when you were younger, or maybe I could have diverted you to this before they encounter the person in blue, and they have all this anger and this mental health stuff, but nobody helped the person in blue or the other person, the person on the other side. And now they're both in an
So I'm
encounter,
hearing,
which is negative.
Katrina, one, the good reasons why it would be good to be part of that process. I guess what I want to hear from the rest of us, are we interested in seeing if we can get ourselves on that docket or part of that cycle with police training?
Sure, you mean in order for us to attend
Yeah,
and
to
extend
attend
the
or see
invitation?
how we fit. I
Yeah.
mean, that's up to them because we haven't been invited, but
Right.
it sounds to us.
We can ask for an invite.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
right,
yeah.
But
Is
yeah,
that
I think
okay?
I think it would be really valuable to kind of see just what their process is, and it does sound like diversity training is part of their community policing class, procedural justice, and then it does sound like there's an optional night class on diversity, but maybe let's talk about making that not optional,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because we all have unconscious bias, and
This is very
it's
true.
important to, not get
Yeah.
defensive when those are brought to our attention, and
Yeah.
just
So if we're
learn.
in agreement, then
I would say
can
so.
contact then the director of the Police Training Institute and see how we might fit into that. I wasn't gonna pass it to you, Carla, I know it
Yeah,
seemed.
yeah.
And then you turned to look at Tom.
Like, hey.
But no, I think this is, just our board to their training institute. So I'll look up who and ask, and maybe my friend Ash can introduce me to somebody over there, so.
I can hook you up.
All right, so that's a good thing. That's great to both hear about the conference and then turn into something concrete that gives us learning, and it'll put some hours on our docket too. So we're constantly learning and seeing how we can influence for the better. So that's good. We ended up, and I don't remember why, Carla, 6C under ride-alongs. We've already talked about who has done it. The importance of ride-alongs, I think we have a requirement of at least once a year. I thought it might be twice a year. One a year. Okay. I need to do a more recent one. I think COVID threw us all off. In one of my nights with them, it was not so exciting, But I was new and talking to an officer about what their pattern was and what does Urbana look like at night was already. Yes, yeah, we did. The other one that I did at that hour, there was lots of campus parties to go to, and pick up kids and stuff like that. That was.
To a previous CPRB member who did his at night, and I think they went to a call like in the parking lot of Salt and Light where there were 4 young children in a
Oh. Well, there was a domestic one that we went to that I wanted to disappear.
Yeah.
We were in a small apartment and argument and whatever else, and I said, you know what, I shouldn't be here. You know, but it was good training for me to see, you know, de-escalation and then channeling of that energy into something that could be at least slow it down a bit. So they can be very direct, confrontational even. There was once in which it seemed dangerous for us to be there, but it all comes with, and the officer was very good at sending me back to the car, which I welcomed. Anyway, so
Okay.
that's the ride-alongs. We communicate with Corbin, was it? Colby. Yeah, and we can get ourselves there. The next item on our agenda is coming back then to the Pride Fest and then to I had another one. The fire department one, thank you. Thank you. Outreach of this sort comes with the job, you know, I think in the description that we signed up for. None of it is obligatory in the sense of a specific one. I think that we can all do and report to each other where we're trying to teach others about what the CPRB is. So I like to set the example of saying that I want to be there at the Pride Fest. I don't know yet which one of the opportunities. I don't mind with my LGBTQ friends to march, but I don't know whether I'll be available at 11. So it's either 11 or 2 for me, and I want to be there. And if you want to join me. The fire department, though, is freer because my wife is leaving that morning, and so my boy would welcome that I leave him alone in the afternoon. So yes, I would like to go to the fire department one too, just because I've been doing outreach. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
I have not done a group, like a situation where I don't know. We used to sit at the farmer's market a long time ago, and it was good to meet new people in town. But I haven't done one of those in which I'm behind the table. And it looks like they are Kona ice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it might be just the time for me to volunteer. That's okay.
I can probably maybe help set up on Saturday. I have to see, the Saturday is like a humongous busy day.
Yeah.
And I can come to the fire department. I have an event on Sunday, but I can come in between. It might be around 5 for a little bit, but I'll stop by. Yeah.
Do we have a table at that event? We do? Is it we as CPRB or we as city?
Well, I requested for the Human Rights and Equity Office to have a table, so it would be the CPRB and the Human Relations Commission that I staff, but also I will be sharing it with another department. So it's not where it's all city, but specifically I asked for this office to be able to have an opportunity for you guys to do outreach, to meet people, to talk about CPRB.
Okay. And at this, when we were tabling, there's traffic and we put up a little sign. We have our trifolds or something that we'll have there.
Yes, we will have our the card brochure. We will have those there, and we also ordered some table runners for each of the boards that I staff. I believe we will have the CPRB one, or if not the CPRB one, the Office of Human Rights and Equity one. But I'm working towards having a specific one, so when CPRB goes out, it's CPRB on the table. Their name is on the runner.
Okay. So, just so that we know the parameters, sometimes when we commit, it's hard to know exactly how we fit. So, I'll confirm, they asked us to, they sent us a direct email, so I'll probably confirm something for one of the two on Saturday. And then on Sunday, we don't have to, since we're already got the table, if we just show up, then we can coordinate. Just as a reminder, OMA means 3 of us. If 3 is not a quorum, then 3 is not a quorum. So 3 of us could show up, and it would be okay because we're not a quorum at 3. But we can't have all 4 show up at the same spot
Well, I
outside
thought we
this
couldn't have
room.
more than 2,
My understanding was it was no more than 2 members at a time.
yeah. 'Cause
Okay.
that violates the Open Meetings Act. So that, I mean, I can come from 4 to 5, that's a good time for me at the fire one. If
Okay.
you're coming more like 5, then,
Yeah, I have a previous engagement. I'm
Yeah.
not sure. It starts at 2, so I'm not sure if
Okay.
I'll be able to make it, but if it would, it wouldn't
Well,
be.
if we
just-
see 3 of us,
If it's,
one
if,
of
I'll
us
keep,
walks
I'll keep
away.
walking, I'll
Okay.
keep walking.
Okay.
Just don't say
but
anything.
Let's
I
do
can go-
that.
I know I can be from 4 to 5, I can't
Yeah.
stay after 5, but
Yeah.
I'll plan to do
All right.
that. Okay.
Sounds good. And we're welcome, if we find other opportunities, we should let each other know. And the proper way to do it is let Carla know or Tom know so that they can send it to us all. We're allowed to send something to everybody, but that provides the opportunity somebody might reply all, and now we're violating.
Gotcha,
So we have to
okay.
be careful with that. But let me give one charge to that side of the room. If 3 is not quorum, then it should be consistent that 3 is a good enough number that we can see each other because it's not quorum. So it's not supposed to be more than half because more than half is quorum. So I don't know where that rule book is, but I'd like to learn.
I will follow up.
Thank you. So that puts us there for then, on having talked and thought through outreach. Colum was our main board member for outreach, watching out for the opportunities, going over the brochure, things like that. It might be nice to have somebody that regularly looks at these things and makes sure that we don't miss it. I'm especially happy when the meeting is coming up and there are several of us shooting emails, don't forget this, don't forget that. So the agenda is enriched by what you're thinking about to bring up. So no one has to be in charge of outreach, but if you're thinking of it, then send it in and we can make sure we are not alone in the room. There's somebody out there with cable land watching and they say, well, I didn't know Pride Fest was this weekend. And they get to join too. So free publicity for stuff in which you can invite the CPRB. So if you want to, just invite us and we'll put you right here, church or not. All right. Any other questions, comments on the unfinished business? All right. Let me add one that we didn't put in the agenda, but I just noticed it's a gap from unfinished business. And Carla, we need to make sure we add this. And that is, we need to report back on the buckets, what we were calling the buckets. That is the changes that we have started to make on our procedures that didn't require any supervision, the changes that we need city council to make adjustments to the ordinance. And then the third bucket that we I think were in agreement last time that we were in quorum was, we don't need to change the structure. We don't need a Philly-like type of police review board, but there might be elements that we could learn of something like that. So right now, next time that we'll be here, we hopefully will report, because I've been doing that with Mr. Allegretti and Carla and the rest of the city too. What changes are we
Mr.
proposing then?
You may want to use that at the next meeting.
Yeah, and so we'll come back to that. Tony and I haven't seen each other very much, but it is something that's in part of our unfinished business that we're working on and would like to move on to the next stage. So anyway, I just call it buckets, but of course that's not good technical language. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, so that finishes our unfinished business. Is there anything else that people are craving to talk through? All right. just a reminder, it has to be on the agenda if we're gonna make a decision on it. And that way we give the public a chance to also consider and show up. So that's why the agenda is got the basic categories. All right, we don't have public input, not having anybody here, so now it's just 9, which is, usually it's like our announcement time, and then anything else you might want to contribute, whether it's something that you're doing around town, sometimes a response to public input, or, I don't know, a time to make enemies amongst us, or I don't know. But anyway, go ahead, if anybody has comments or announcements to make, that this is the appropriate time.
Jumping back to outreach, the Disability Expo is October 22nd. I don't know if it would be an appropriate place for us to do any outreach, but just that is an upcoming event. I think it's 11 to 4 p.m. at the mall on the 22nd. So
At the mall or at the square?
It's at Marketplace Mall.
Okay.
There was some mini event changes in times and places
That's
and
okay.
dates.
Give us that date again, Disability.
October 22nd. It's
Okay.
a Saturday. So I am on the volunteer committee, so I will be there as a representative of my organization. So
Excellent.
it tends to be a lot of like nonprofits that offer disability-specific services, but just throwing it out there if we feel like it would be an appropriate
We
place.
made some
to-
adjustments to our procedures, thinking of,
Yeah,
the
so that
differently
might,
abled,
could
so-
be possibly, and I could send, I think they might still be taking, new tables, but I can double check on that, so,
okay.
and get that info out.
And we are a sponsor.
Okay.
This
So
year.
we would have space at a table already if we wanted to.
We didn't request a table because staff was unavailable at that date,
Okay.
on that date.
Understood.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, good.
They
That's a great-
they do have, like bags that go out, that they give out, so if we wanted to have maybe at least like the card in it, we can maybe see if we can do that, to go out with like the info.
Should I provide that information to you?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine. We have, I think, another committee meeting in like 2 weeks, so we have one more before the event, so.
Good.
I'm not on that committee, but I can get it to the right people, so,
That's great.
yeah.
Good info. Anybody else? Okay, so we're done then with comments. B is just a reminder, the next time we meet, B and C actually, in November, we'll be meeting, we'll have a police representative and we'll go over whatever tasers they've accumulated since the last time that we dealt with. The agreement was that we should have a regular place to see them and see them regularly so they don't accumulate. Not that there are that many taser discharges, but it's better once it's happened that we see them as soon as possible. That is, it forces them to process them for us and have it on record. And it's good for us to see it while it's still in germination if there is something that happened. It's almost like reading the complaints before they get to the appeal level. I don't know what their staffing is like. I know that it's hard for them to do all the editing and whatever else. So one way that I've said, because we voted in this group to do only discharges. For example, the city council they didn't change the ordinance yet. We're supposed to see all of them. But if we look at all the discharges, I think we're doing our best to try to do with their time schedule and with ours. But importantly, as they prepare them, it gives us a chance to not lose practice. Probably that's my biggest worry, that we have enough institutional knowledge that as a board, we can handle anything that comes at us, because some of us here have the experience. So it's kind of like what you pointed out. I felt like a newbie for a long time before I had any issue of what to say more than that, so. Anyway, so that would be, at the next meeting when, Lieutenant Smizer is coming to present those, and, they would be in our portal for us to preview, and then once we know what they're presenting and what they're ready to present, I highly recommend that you look at it. It's one
Okay.
of the folders in the
Portal,
portal. Especially because some of these things take a little bit digestion, as you were saying, analysis.
Uh-huh.
It has been through watching those with others that I realized that more was going on. And then there was the obvious. The analysis for us at the beginning was the taser is pointing down because we agreed that they wouldn't threaten somebody by pointing at it unless they were gonna pull the trigger or had intention to pull the trigger. So they usually pointed it down so that they wouldn't threaten, but that meant the camera was looking down
Oh,
and the audio was horrible.
ah,
And so
ah.
it was like a really
helpful.
bad deal to have a camera in the room that wasn't functioning for its intended purpose.
Gotcha.
But it was the rule that was made. Every time the holster it, the camera turns on, and that's what we get. So
Okay.
thank you very much for body cameras now that we can see the dialogue while the camera, well, actually, there's no cameras now on the tasers, is pointing down. So anyway, that's a dynamic.
Yeah.
That happened through all our
Uh-huh.
enlightened analysis, that what we had was not working
Gotcha.
for what we wanted it to. So anyway, so that's it as far as I can tell from our agenda.
Yeah, just following up on the
Please.
can someone explain what the taser training is and how we sign up for it? Because that I don't know much about.
I can reach out to UPD and find out that it was
Okay.
scheduled for me and one of the other board members when
Oh,
we
okay.
first came on, and then I just attended, but I can find out.
Okay, 'cause
And,
am I the only one who hasn't taken that yet? Okay, so we could double up, because I know it's time consuming for the officers to do that, so,
So I'll follow up.
okay, thank you.
I have to tell you, was it last Thursday? Was it a week ago? Maybe, on the 15th, whenever that was. Yeah. The mayor had coffee with the mayor.
Oh,
There was
yeah.
a lot of, city people out here and just different kinds of people that stopped by. And as I came here, because I thought it was here, and it turned out they'd moved it to outside, but when I was walking out of here, there was a police officer, and when he saw me, he was, I wouldn't say smiling, but he wasn't quite the big laugh. He was grinning
Ah,
as he saw me. And when somebody's talking about you, you feel like somebody's talking about you. So I looked at him, he grinned big, and as I got closer to him, he told me why. He said, "We were just talking about you outside because I'm the one that pulled the trigger on you when you took the taser."
oh,
Because as part of the training, I volunteered to see what it felt like. I don't recommend it, but he's still laughing about the fact that he tased me. And it happened, so you don't have to say yes to that. I guess they don't really offer it. I was just curious, and that gets me in trouble sometimes. But anyway, any other thing? Can I have a motion to adjourn then?
I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
Thank you. We need a second.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Peggy. And now we take roll and we say yes to adjourning the meeting. All right,
Tickle in
Tom,
my
I gotcha. It's a yes.
Yes.
Ashley Withers,
Yes.
Peggy Patton.
Yes.
And we're adjourned till the next time. Isn't it?